Boston Ramesh channel. I'm a certified ServiceNow application developer, and this series is all about sharing my preparation journey and the strategies I found effective for passing the exam. So lately, I've had many viewers asking for tips on how to succeed. So I wanted to start today's video with some advice and insights for those of you working towards certification. So preparing for this exam definitely requires a lot of focus and hands-on practice in your personal developer instance if you are not working in an organization where you have access to ServiceNow instances, and definitely a strategic approach for this exam preparation. But remember, certification is not just about passing a test, it's about equipping yourself with skills you will use to solve real world problems when you get into a real world job to do a development work. So with that mindset, every study session should bring you one step closer to becoming a capable ServiceNow developer. So there are a few strategies. Here are my strategies that helped me, and I hope they will give you the boost you need as you prepare. So just stick around till the end for this video for some sample questions that will give you definitely an idea of what to expect in the exam. So some essential tips that I can say. Focus on real world scenarios. The exam doesn't really just test definitions, so it definitely evaluates how well you can apply ServiceNow tools in a practical scenario. So you might see questions on configuring application properties or setting up integration hub to connect with external systems. So instead of memorizing, you should actually practice this in your personal developer instance. You know, there are a bunch of resources out there that it can give you an idea of what kind of situation that you can try. And then you should master integration hub spokes. You know, it's not too much, but definitely you need to pick up one or two, like Slack or Salesforce, and practice them because they are free. And hands-on experiences will prepare for you to handle the scenario-based questions. Also, understand application properties. Application properties we'll go through a little bit deeper dive in this session, but these properties can give applications flexibility by allowing administrators to adjust settings. So you should know what exactly that, what is the real use of the application properties instead of just thinking about application properties as a ServiceNow specific item. This can be for any application outside of ServiceNow as well. So let's move on to see what is an integration hub. So what is integration hub? It is a core capability in ServiceNow that allows applications to interact with external platforms. So when I say core capability, there are a bunch of core features that comes as part of the ServiceNow platform. So this is one of those core capabilities. And this integration hub includes a bunch of spokes. Spokes are nothing but pre-built connectors. So these connectors will connect to popular systems like Slack, Microsoft Teams, Salesforce, and even to another ServiceNow instance. And these spokes enable any developer to build workflows because spokes are used in the workflows that will communicate with other platforms seamlessly. How do they use it? Either to pull the data from other systems into the ServiceNow or push the data from ServiceNow to external systems. So think of Integration Hub as a way to extend the reach of ServiceNow because ServiceNow is called as platform of platforms. So that means it's a platform connecting to other platforms. That means you can use a ServiceNow as a platform looking into other platforms without leaving the ServiceNow. So it is making it possible to create workflows that connect with external systems and deliver real-time results. Now let's look at the benefits of Integration Hub. Number one will be streamlined automation. So Integration Hub will allow us to automate tasks across multiple platforms by reducing manual steps and saving time. Also, the other one is seamless connectivity. So that when I say seamless, you don't have to really adjust a lot. These pre-built spokes make it easy to connect. The ServiceNow platform with tools like Google Workspace, Salesforce, as I said before, without any complex setup. You just install it and use it. And it's a advantage is a centralized control. With Integration Hub, we can manage all external integrations within ServiceNow, which will give us control over workflows without switching platforms. So there are three key components as part of the Integration Hub you will use. One is spokes, second one is actions, and third one is flow designer integration. So spokes are, as I said before, pre-configured connectors for popular platforms, and then it will make it easy to add integrations without any custom development. And then actions, each spoke has specific tasks, like they are called actions. So they can be performed on the external platform, such as sending a message or creating a record. So each one is an action. Also, Flow Designer integration is about directly integrates with the Flow Designer, so you can embed these external actions into your flows with ease. Here is the mirror diagram, just to quickly look at the Integration Hub related items on a single page, so that we can easily review what is Integration Hub again. Integration Hub provides low code to no code integration capabilities with third-party applications, and then integrations with third-party apps, for example. If you can look at it, as I said, it's a low code to no code, and the spokes are nothing but it's a scoped application with flow designer actions. And from my examples perspective, these spokes can connect to Slack, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Active Directory, and then there are a bunch other items, including Salesforce. And these spokes, some of the spokes comes out of the box, like they're called default spokes, but you need to purchase some subscriptions to have more enterprise level spokes, for example, specific to Microsoft Azure or anything that are of enterprise level integration. So you as a company, um, they have to have licenses to use those specific complex spokes. And then there are some custom items that we can build in the integration, but these are specific to REST web service request. So what is involved in using the Integration Hub? You build a workflow and then you use those spokes and then you test it. So that is very simple to see. From a very high level, this is what it looks like. So here is my personal developer instance. And let's look at what I have from my Integration Hub perspective. So, so if you haven't installed the Integration Hub, you probably won't be able to see all of this, but you definitely see the Integration Hub application menu item here, but you probably won't be able to see everything. So to do that, you have to do one step to install all this stuff and other spokes that we will be using as part of this demo, which is Slack. So let me open and show you where you can do that. So log into the usual homepage for the developer website and click on the profile, and here you see the Activate plugin. When you have this Activate plugin window open, type in the search box Integration Hub, and then you will see these items related to the Integration Hub. The first one is installer, and the remaining all others are standard pack installer as professional and enterprise. So I used this Integration Hub installer and the standard pack, assuming that professional and enterprise pack installers need some licenses. I don't want to spend time on it, but I think these two are enough for me to proceed with the demo to show you how the Slack spoke works for us. So once you click on that activate button here, you will receive a message on the screen saying that in the backend it is been installing, and then you will get a email message. So just wait for 5 to 10 minutes and you will receive a message saying confirmation or failure, whatever it may be. And I received that message and I went back, and then I was able to see the successful installation here in my personal developer instance. That's why I'm able to see everything. Um, so let me just go and check if the Slack webhook installed or not. For that, I'm going to open the flow designer, because that is where we actually see these um, spokes available or not for the flow, because it's spokes are the extension to the flow designer. So you will see those actions. So I just opened the flow designer. So this flow designer, I already created a workflow, and I will go ahead and explain what I did in that workflow, and then you will see how that works in the Slack. I will run it and will show you. So here is the Slack integration workflow I have created. So let's look at the trigger. So the trigger here, what I did is any incident that is either created or updated with a priority of critical, and then its configuration item is set to ServiceNow Enterprise Services. I want this workflow. I want this workflow to be started. And then what actions that I'm taking here, I'm creating a task um, and assigning that to a user named Abraham Lincoln. And then I'm making this task as a child to the incident that is being created, right? So I assigned that incident record here as a parent to this task. And I also configured to make the description of this task same as the incident record. So I used the data pill to make this, go here and incident record and check that description and add it here. Okay, same thing for the parent. I just picked up the incident record here. So the next one is I wanted to also update the incident record with a message in the work note saying that a Slack support message is sent out. So that's a message I wanted to write to the work notes of the incident record. That's another action item. And finally, this is the Slack message I'm trying to send out. This is a spoke. Because I have this spoke, for example, I wanted to show that before I explain this. So how do you test if you have a spoke that is of a Slack? So if you click on that action, just scroll down a little bit, you will see a bunch of other spokes here. But most importantly, if you see the Slack webhooks, that is the one that we are using here. And that one was installed as part of the Activated plugin for the Integration Hub you just did. So you will see a few action items like post a message, post change details. That means anything that happens on the change table or incident table or problem details. So we are using just a post a message. That's all, nothing more than that. That's a very simple test. So I did that already. So here what we need, this spoke is like, out of the box available for us. We are not writing anything. We're just using and configuring it, using it. So we need a webhook URL. Webhook is nothing but a REST API, API integration between two systems. That is a URL. It does have all the information to connect to the end system, in this case, Slack. And I will show you where to look for this webhook URL in the Slack channel. And then I'm gonna write something in the channel saying that please attend this high priority incident. And then I'm sending this mm, incident number as part of the message to support team who is looking at it. Or hey, this is the incident number, please attend this. This is a high priority incident. And I'm also saying that this is the username, ServiceNow admin. You can give any name you want, or you can pick up something from the incident record. You can always do that dynamically. And then the channel name, ServiceNow integrations. You don't have to mention this because the webhook URL already have it, but I just mentioned it. And then I'm also making the icon heart, see if that is gonna work out. Let me show you in the Slack channel how it looks like and where to get the webhook URL, okay? So here is my Slack account I created for myself. This is a personal Slack, but if it is an enterprise, you will have a bunch of channels listed here. So I'm going to use the ServiceNow integrations channel here. So coming to the part where we need to get the webhook URL, which is basically a encrypted URL that will be used to get into send the messages. So you come here, click on this name, your profile name, and click on the tools and settings, and then manage apps. So after landing on the manage apps, you click on the custom integrations. This is where I installed. The application name, the app name is called incoming webhooks. I installed that app for my account in the Slack, and then I configured it. So when I created one, this is the one I created. When I created it, it gives me a webhook URL. This is the URL that I need to copy this URL, and I could change the name from custom this incoming webhook, which is a default name, to something else, but I am just keeping it as it is. So let me go back to my workflow here. So I saved it. I could activate it and run a test, but I activate it and create create an incident directly, but I want to test right here. So I created a incident, or I could just use anything I want. But let me go ahead and use something. And then I just open this. So I am creating a new one here. I selected the caller fidelity, and I want to make this priority high. So I'm going to use impact is high and urgency is high. So that way it becomes critical. And I'm going to use the short description. It's going to be my high priority incident. Okay. And then I will click on the submit. And if I just remember this, I'm going to make sure that I have this, then submit. So this is the incident I just created. Now I selected it. I'm going to run the test and see what happens. So it is running. It's going through all the steps for the workflow. It should kick the workflow. Let's see the workflow execution details. Based on the state of these trigger actions, everything should be completed. That looks like green means everything is successful. I'm going to just look at the task creation process. So I see the task is created. What is the incident? I have the incident here. So let me open and see if the task is associated to this. Right. So priority is critical. That's obviously I selected it. And the short description is my high priority incident. If I just open the record, so I wanted to check if the task is associated. So if you see, this is the task, right? The task number is, the task is associated to the incident, right? And then SLA 43 minutes and so on and so forth, okay? So there is a task created. This is my priority incident. I'm gonna go back to the execution details here. And this is the task. If I click on the task, it should open up the task. And if I open the record, the parent should be associated to it. So the task, I don't see the parent association here. Maybe that's something I will check later. But coming back to the execution details. So I have the work notes, a Slack support message sent out that is updated. At this point, I see work notes. I don't have the work notes open here. Let me see if that I can open. Yeah, so in the work notes, if you see a Slack support message sent out was updated at that point. Now I'm coming back to this one, and then the post message. This is very important. This is the one that we are talking about. So what I'm expecting here, based on this execution, I should expect in my Slack channel, I should see, please attend this high priority incident, and the incident number should be updated. So let's go and look at the Slack channel. All right, so I'm on the Slack channel. This is a ServiceNow integrations. Now, if you see the heart, this is a good thing that I got my heart symbol working there. But the good thing I should say is please attend this high priority incident, and the incident number is here. So that means we are successful in sending out a Slack message um, using the workflow and the Slack web spoke or spoke webhook. uh, Through Slack webhook, we posted it. Okay, that is a great thing to see. I'm very happy that it's working. Um, so you can see the power of the spoke here using the integration hub. You can do for the Microsoft Teams. You can use it for Zoom. A bunch of other opportunities are there. So that concludes this particular demo, and we will move on to our next topics. Next topic, application properties. Now let's look at what are application properties. So application properties are configurable settings within an application in ServiceNow that let administrators adjust, the application behavior without modifying the code, right? So this is especially useful for making applications adaptable to different requirements, like setting default values or adjusting limits. Like if you have a number, if you want to change that, you can do that in the properties and it will apply to the application and the code that is working inside the application in multiple places without any change to the code. So that is the most important of it. If you are a Java developer, in your past life, you must have seen the dot properties file for any module that you deploy. And anything that you put in the properties file can be accessible by just invoking that properties object, and then you can fetch that value and you can use it anytime, anywhere in the code. And then if you just want to change a value, you don't have to go and change values in the code, but you could rather just go into the dot properties file and change that value, and it will just update the whole application. For example, if you are using a URL to an external application and suddenly the application URL changed and that has been referenced in multiple areas for an integration inside the application, then you just have to go into the dot properties file and change it so that the application works without any issues in a production, right? So that's a very simple example, but there are a lot of other benefits to that and different ways of doing that in ServiceNow. But that is one small topic I wanted to cover before we come close to this session today. So here is the mirror diagram I put together for explaining the application properties in ServiceNow. It's not going to take, I'm not going to take a lot of time here, but I just want to explain a little bit what is this. So what is the importance here, right? So the importance is basically to control the configuration. So that means configuration management, and you can have customization and flexibility, performance optimization, and security and compliance. Everything can be done using the application properties. Then how to access application properties, I'll show you that when I show you a demo, but usually you can access through the ServiceNow interface, obviously, but in the backend. And then you can go to the application navigator and you can go to system properties and you can see those properties all together. Or it is part of the application, then you can see in a module. Also, the process of creating application properties is pretty simple. You create a system property category, and then you add properties, and you can just reorder the properties in whichever the way that you would like. And then you create a properties module, and you can assign to it, so you can see the property item under the module. So you can click on it in the module, and then you can open the properties window to configure it. It's pretty simple. Again, this is very useful and very important for us to understand as a developer, because that is where you're controlling your application behavior. And what types of application properties that you can expect to be seen in the ServiceNow system properties. It controls the whole system. There are different types of system properties that you can see. Go to the system properties application menu. And then you have application specific. You can have a scoped application. You're creating multiple scoped application for different features or different capabilities in your enterprise. Then you want to control each scoped application for that specific need. That's how you can do it. And then you can also see the user preferences. And what type of a common application properties that you can expect? Email configuration. You can control emails in a application property that you can change emails for each environment. You can logging levels. You can have different logging levels that you set up in the properties. You can say UI settings. I want a blue color. I want black color. I want no color. Whatever it may be. You can control the themes in the properties. You can have integration settings, like as I said, if you are testing in the um, pre-production environments, you want to use one type of URL connecting to an external system in their pre-production environment. But when it goes to the production, you want to change the settings so that it will that application connects to the production environment of the external system. So you can change that in the during the deployment process. So your DevOps person or your system administrator change that settings in the application properties as part of the deployment process to just change that integration URL in that application property, so that you don't have to change any of the code or anything like that. That's a very useful scenario that I can explain. And then what is the impact of application properties? As you can expect, it has um, a control on the application behavior. You can control it, and then you can have, if there is a problem that is something that you are trying to address, you can troubleshoot the common issues, like you can change the properties and then you can see the behavior, like a performance issue or a user experience or anything like that. And then you can do the changes in a very safe environment, because it's not going to change the code. You are not breaking any rules. You are not breaking any policies or anything like that. You just change the property. You can see the um, what we call the behavior and understand how the system is behaving. So that's all about the application properties. Let's see quickly where you can actually go and look at these application properties and how they behave. All right, so let's look at the properties, the application properties topic here. For example, if you want to look at properties, just try to look at a very simple way here, right? System properties. Um, this is system properties is something that it will control the whole system, the platform, right? So under the system properties, you can basically, change anything that makes it, easy to control, like, email properties. So when the email application sends out emails, what should happen? So everything will be controlled here in such a way that, these are all either append a time zone to dates and times in sent email. If you check yes, that means somewhere in the code it is using this particular property, whatever the property name is, glide.email.append.timezone. Uh, if it where the code is using this particular property, it will return the true, right? And when it is true, the time zone will be added to the email. So I'm just giving a very simple example here. This is for the system. So if you go back and just type in the properties, you see what happens. It will bring up all the properties pages for all the applications listed in the whole ServiceNow platform. You see that, activity subscriptions, there is a property. If you go down, if you see incident, there is incident properties. So this incident properties is basically control the behavior or the functionality or the view, the UI experience, and then form behavior, not exactly the form behavior, but anything that is related to the incident form, you can actually control it, right? So you can explore this a little bit and understand why certain things are set, uh, working that way, and you can change it all the time. For example, enable auto closure of incidents based on resolution date. Setting this to no will make auto closure to run based on the updated date. So that's the functionality. That is a logic that is running behind the scenes. Whenever you feel like something is not working, you can remember that there are things that work in certain way because the properties are set that way. This one, if you see, anytime if you open a ServiceNow incident and the ServiceNow incident is resolved by a support person, what this says is number of days after which resolved incidents are automatically closed. Zero disables this feature, right? That means For example, you open an incident in your company, and then you order probably a laptop, and then the laptop you received, and then the incident is put in resolved, and the company support person asked you to uh, confirm that you received the laptop or whatever that the next step that or you opened a ticket and you got it resolved on your own, and something happened and the problem doesn't exist anymore. So the support person says it is resolved. The incident status changes to resolved. And if it is not in the, if nobody closes it, then what we are saying is this property sets the 7 days. That means after 7 days, automatically a scheduled run will check if it is 7 days, then it will automatically close the ticket. So it's a long answer for a small thing here, but I just wanted to make sure that there are multiple ways that you can actually use this. Now, you can create your properties for your scoped applications. There are a bunch of scoped applications. So in my case, I have my own application, right? Boston Ramesh application. I have created this Boston application. I was just trying to set up a property to show you. So I have created a property. This is a very simple, this is a sample property for Boston Ramesh application. I wanted to use number 12 to do something, just a, um, you know, for the testing purposes to show you that I can actually create my own properties for my own scoped application. So my separator is just a separator, but this is a module. So just to show you, this record is in the Boston Ramesh application because the global application is the one that is here. So I'm going to just switch that to Boston Ramesh so that my scope is um, in the same area. So application scope I want to put into the Boston Ramesh. Okay, so that way this is basically editable. So I can edit this. So instead of 12, I wanted to say 20. I can do that, whatever it may be. If I'm using this number, I can always change this number to check something else in the future after 20 days or after 20 minutes, whatever that is I'm using it for. However, you would probably wanted to see how I created this. So I'm going to simply quickly show you. I'm not going to create it, but I will show you how I created it. So I'm going to show you. I am going to open the studio. So this is my developer studio. I'm going to open the Boston Ramesh application, which I created it. This is my scoped application. So in this scoped application, if you see, I have a bunch of menus here. So first we need to create a category called BR app property. So this is a category under which I wanted to create properties. So this is the Boston Ramesh application system property file. And then I have added, I have created a property called this one. This is a sample property where I'm using a value 20 because I just updated 20. Um, and I associated this property to this category. I can have multiple categories. I have shown you in the past. In the incident, you saw like multiple properties. One is for user interface, one is for functionality, and you can change that whatever the way that you want. And then in the modules, so what? So this property, this page I wanted to see, then I have to create a module so that I can actually show the page. So this is the module I have created. So this module is basically um, a link type of URL because there are different types of links that you can select whenever you are creating a module. So I selected the type called link type is URL, and then it will open the system properties, and then it will give this the title is a BR app property, and then the system category is BR app property, right? I'll show you when I go there. Going back to the window here. So, so going back to my Boston Ramesh application here, if you see, uh, I want to click on this. This is a property file, right? So look at this URL here. Boston Ramesh system properties underscore UI.do. Sysparam title is equal to BR app property, and then category is equal to this property. That's how I am actually landed on these properties. That's how you configure this I put a separator so that we can actually see it after this. And the remaining items are this application's functionalities. So I hope you understand the properties, application properties importance here, and feel free to play around, but don't try to change any of the core properties because that will just you know impact the original system functionality. So we have come to the end of this particular video. So let's quickly close with some key takeaways, and then, as I promised, I want to just quickly go through some sample questions. I know this is pretty simple questions, but this is how uh, the exam would look at your understanding of a certain topic in any way in the CAD exam. All right. So for any additional practice, so I recommend finding free online resources because there are a lot of sample questions out there you can practice to just to understand a little bit more about your, depth of understanding of each topic. Um, I can definitely suggest a website like a Quizlet.com. There are a bunch of resources out there. You can check it out. But here, the first sample question regarding the integration hub is about a developer wants to send a notification to a Microsoft Teams channel when a high priority incident is created in ServiceNow. So which integration hub component would allow the developer to configure this action in Flow Designer without scripting? Right? The options are spoke, action, trigger, and subflow. So the correct answer is spoke because there is a spoke called Microsoft Teams. Only if you see it, you probably will remember it. That's why you need to open it and see it in the PDI and install those plugins. Also, a sample question for application property is an administrator wants to set a default property for incidents without modifying the incident workflow. Which feature allows this to be configured? So options are data pill, application property, scoped app, and integration hub. So obviously the correct answer is application property. But when you see this question in the mix of many other topics, you need to remember that this is the topic about application property, and this is not about the scoped app or application data pill. It is more about application property. So the more you practice, the more you see these type of features in the PDI, doing some hands-on work or doing some samples, you will definitely remember this. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you better understand the integration hub and application properties areas. Remember, certification is just one step. So keep practicing and use resources like Quizlet.com for sample questions to boost your preparation. So if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more tips. Drop any questions in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Keep pushing forward, and good luck on your certification journey.